Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Planes, Trains, and Comic Book channel. My name's Matt, and today we're going to review Specs number 1. But before we get into that, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, subscribing, commenting, it really helps me out and lets me know what you guys want to see more of. So, with that being said, let's get straight into it. All right, we got the cover here for Specs number 1. It is a Boom Studios comic, and it is by David Boer, Chris Sheehan, and Roman Stevens. And we start off in Somerton High School in Ohio in 1987. And we see two friends talking about a comic book that one of them found. Specifically, our main character, Kenny, here found it. And they're kind of making fun of it because it looks lame. But they do notice there is a sales ad in it that looks kind of funny for some magic glasses. So as they kind of joke about ordering the glasses, the school bully confronts them because this is the 80s and comics were not cool then. So of course a fight breaks out. Kenny throws the first punch after Skunk, the bully, pushes Ted into him. But Skunk is able to tackle Kenny, and before Skunk can do anything, Ted grabs Skunk's hands. But before he can throw any punches, the principal comes and stops the fight, and he only gives Ted detention, even though there were 3 people in that fight. And it is made very clear that the principal is doing this because he is racist towards Ted. So after school, Ted and Kenny are hanging out, talking about how unfair that was. And they're also talking about how cool it would be to have magic glasses that give you wishes, like from the ad in the comic book. And we find out that Kenny is gay and he's had a crush on his friend for a really long time, but he's scared to tell Ted because, you know, it's the 80s and he doesn't know how he'll take it. So after Ted leaves, Kenny goes to sleep, but in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, someone starts knocking on the front door of Kenny's house. It seems like maybe Kenny's the only one hearing it because his parents do not wake up. So he goes to check it out, he opens the door, and there is a special delivery for him of some magic glasses. And that's where I'm going to cut it. I don't want to spoil anything else. So I checked this comic out purely because the cover looks pretty cool, and it reminded me of the movie They Live, although the story has nothing to do with glasses that can see aliens. I thought the main story of the boys finding wish-granting glasses was pretty interesting. It's a pretty good premise, and I like the rules that they set up for how the wishes work, because it would be easy for the writer to use tropes like the monkey's paw or things like that, and then the story would feel more by the numbers. So I thought he did a good job of staying away from those tropes and keeping the story original in its concept. Now, there were some things I did not like about the writing in this, specifically the narration. There was a lot of it, and it tended to be very heavy-handed and on the nose. It kind of felt like a PSA or a Dare video at times, where there's no subtlety at all with what they're trying to say. And I just felt like a lot of the stuff that he was telling us in the narration could have been shown or even was being shown in the art, and instead of letting that speak for itself, he decided to just tell you in the narration. So there's not a lot of subtlety with the concepts of Kenny being gay or the racism of the town. So I just felt like it didn't flow as well as it could have if he just let the artwork and the way people are talking reflect those attitudes and feelings that he's trying to get across. I thought the art was all right. The biggest thing in this one is that some of the fight scenes felt kind of stiff, so I think that could have been done a little bit better. The art was overall serviceable, but for me personally, there wasn't anything in there that really captured me. So overall, I didn't really like this comic too much. I just felt like the heavy-handed narration really stopped me from enjoying it as much as I could have. I actually went back and tried to read it without the narration, and I felt like in a lot of the panels, the art or what people sang spoke for themselves and they didn't need the narration in there. So at least for me, I think the narration was a pretty big hindrance. And the issue has a pretty big cliffhanger at the end of it, so that might bring some people back to buy issue 2. For me, it wasn't good enough to bring me back, so I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. I think for some people, they might be fine with the narration and it might not bug them, but I feel like it was kind of like those old Silver Age comics where we would get a panel of Spider-Man swinging through the city, and then Spider-Man would say, "I can't believe I'm swinging through this city." And then the narration would also reiterate, Spider-Man is swinging through the city. But that's just my opinion, so if you saw anything you like, definitely go pick that up at your local comic book store, and we will see y'all in the next one.